What's up, everybody? Welcome to Brandon's Face. It's the podcast about a playlist. I'm Jonathan Beardsley.
And I'm Brandon May.
We are sorry for missing last week, but we are going to make up with it with a supersized episode this week. So let's just dive right in, man. We have a new track from Rufus Du Sol, Break My Love. What are your thoughts on this one?
John, this might be my favorite of the singles they've released so far. This is a really good track, man.
Yeah, man, I agree. It is also my favorite of the singles they've released so far. If I'm being nitpicky, I do wish it progressed a little bit more, but that could be solved by the right remix or extended mix. New one from Chris Lake and Disclosure, In Two Minds. I thought this one was a banger. What about you?
You know, man, when I saw Chris Lake's name attached to it, along with Disclosure, I was like, ah. And then I listened to it and I was like, okay, this is really fucking good.
Yeah.
Those little tin can keg hits throughout are really fun.
I agree. I'm a little bummed we didn't get any more Annie Up music this year, but I will take this. This works.
I think their tour really did them in, you know what I mean?
I think so too. We got the Leighton Giordani remix of Strobe by Deadmau5, yet another great remix of Strobe. It's crazy how much this song continues to inspire other artists this many years, decades later. What'd you think of this one?
Anima does Strobe. Leighton Giordani puts his name on it. It's good. Nothing's going to touch the original Strobe, but I did like this. Yeah. Leighton actually played a couple weeks ago, I think Friday, not last Friday, but the Friday prior at Sound Nightclub in Hollywood. And people who went to the show were like, man, I was expecting like more techno. And it's like, bro, that's like 3 years ago.
Yeah.
He makes this style of music now, which I think he's doing pretty good at.
I agree, dude. I really liked it, style and just all around wise. We've heard a lot of remixes of this song over the year. Is this one near your favorite? I think the Atlas one might still be mine.
Yeah, I think Atlas really did the best for the song. You know what I mean? Like it might be the best homage to the original Strobe.
Yeah, I'll agree with that. Worthy entry though.
Oh, for
All
sure.
right, we got a new one from Rez, Virtual Riot, and One True God called Give In To You. I always like when Rez works with vocalists in this type of way. It's got that typical Rez bounce to it, so thumbs up from me. What about you?
You know, man, yes, you're right. We have that typical Rez bounce, but you can hear Virtual Riot's portion of it. You can hear Rez's portion of it.
Oh, for sure.
The way it's blended, the way this is a true collaboration. You know, I love it when that happens.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I do as well. And usually, I guess you're right. I should have noted that. Usually with Rez, you can hear the Rez and not a lot of other things going on, but you can really hear the other artists contributing on this one. It's a really good one. New one from the Glitch Mob, Infinity. Thought this one was pretty straightforward, but pretty good. What about you?
You know, man, I was not a gigantic fan of their last record. We reviewed it here. I forget what I gave it, but I don't think it was very positive. This track bangs, bro. I actually really liked this one. We have like more drums back at least.
Yeah, kind of. I don't know. It's still getting some taking used to like associate this type of sound with the Glitch Mob as opposed to what I used to associate with their sound, but it's not bad.
Right.
All right, man. New one from Spore, Obsession. What are your thoughts on it?
You know, John, what I love about Mr. John Gooch's music is just how creative it always is. What I took from this track is that he clearly heard something he wanted to sample and just ran all the way the fuck around the world with it, bro. This track is undeniably one of the best drum and bass tracks of the year. I cannot wait for the full project to drop if there is one. I'm just so what is it, dude? How does this dude continue to make just fantastic music at the level that he does for so long? This is great, bro. This is one of my songs of the week for sure.
Yeah, it is great. I echo that. Has he ever dropped a Spore project and a Feed Me project in the same calendar year? Do you know?
Yes, I believe he dropped High Street Creeps and Caligula? Is that it?
Well, even if it's not
Caligo,
even if it's not the first time he does it, I would be very happy if he does it again. I'm just happy to be getting this much music from him this year. It's been insane, honestly.
And it's like prolific releases while simultaneously being just easily some of the best of the year. And it's not like, and like clearly I'm biased, right? I've seen
Yeah.
Feed Me like 12 times or something stupid like that.
Hmm.
But I've seen him 12 times for a fucking reason, right? Because the dude knows how to do chord progressions. And when he switches over to drum and bass, man, he knows how to do percussion. And clearly he took this sample and was just like, I'm going to fuck this all the way up. And he did that.
Yeah, he absolutely did do that. It is a very sample driven song, and I love how much he manipulated it. It's really good shit.
Right.
All right, we got this Kavinsky Angele Phoenix rework of Night Call that's kind of gone viral since their performance at the Olympics. I'm not as high on this version as the rest of the world seems to be. Where do you fall on it?
One might ask, John, why? And instead of my normal response of, well, why not? I will ask, what the fuck is the point of this, man? Who was listening to Nightcall and said, hey, man, you know that band that did Listomania? Let's get them to do this song. Obviously, Nightcall is fucking
Yeah.
great. Phoenix didn't need to be involved at all, man.
Yeah, I get it for the performance. I thought for the Olympics, this mishmash of big artists from the country, all of that, it made sense. I thought it sounded fine, but as an official release, it feels wholly unnecessary to me.
Yeah, I think they should have just left it at the live performance, man, because it doesn't it's Nightcall, but
Sure. Yeah.
Nightcall already existed. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we have Night Call at home. That's what this is. All right, we got the Charlie XCX Troye Sivan Talk Talk remix. I thought this one was okay. I'm going to put it in the B tier of remixes that we've heard so far. I honestly think the problem with it is that Troy just kind of washes Charlie on it. I don't think her new verse on it is very good. But more importantly, we finally have a date for the long-awaited remix album. It is titled Brat, and it's completely different, but it's also still Brat. It's scheduled to drop October 11th. What did you think of this one?
Thought that this one was good. The original is better, obviously.
Yeah.
I agree. I think that both of these two have potential to work together on an original track, but Talk Talk is something that Charlie did better on her own.
I mean, 1999 is a massive hit between both of them, and yeah, they're on tour together now. Now that the tour's actually begun, it's interesting because I'm going to that later next month, and I kind of envisioned when I saw Charlie, Troy, Shy Girl that it was going to be a traditional tour format. It looks like Shy Girl is the opener in a traditional sense, but it's a split set. They're kind of doing like 3 songs of Troy, 3 songs of Charlie, a collab together on stage, remix this, guess that, and it's all one cohesive show. Have you been to a show that's like that where the headliners are performing kind of interspersed with each other?
I've never been to a show like that. No.
It's interesting. The only one I've ever been to was not 2 musicians. It was Snoop Dogg and Mike Epps at Fantasy Springs Casino in the desert. And it was like Mike Epps would do 10 minutes of stand up, and it would lead into like this little vignette movie that would lead into like 4 Snoop Dogg songs that he would perform, and then kind of back into the movie, back into stand up, and so on. So I guess I have seen some iteration of this, but this is going to be my first seeing it on this level, I suppose. But it's an interesting concept.
Now that you've mentioned Snoop Dogg, I did see Snoop and Dre at Coachella in 2012. Does that count? I mean, clearly they were doing this and then that and then this and then Tupac came and then everybody came. It was a collaborative show.
That is probably the closest thing you'll be able to equate to it. I don't know if it counts in the same regard because they're working together on stage throughout that whole performance. I don't think they came on separately from what I remember. But yeah, it's very similar. It's going to be just, you do a few of yours, I'll do a few of mine. We'll do a few together. So I kind of like that that's the case. As somebody who likes Troye Sivan, enjoyed his last album, but doesn't love the entirety of his discography, it's kind of cool that I don't have to sit through an hour Troye Sivan set. So it's a win-win for me.
Well, you do just 15 minutes.
Shut up, Brandon. Life is all how you look at it. It's perspective. Okay.
Valid. That's real.
All right. And my perspective on this next song is fucking bad. This is the new one from The Weeknd, Dancing in the Flames. I was bored 40 fucking seconds into this one. I've never been more excited about it since. I'm not in on it yet. What are your feelings on this one?
So I will tell you what I wrote the first time I listened to it, which I wrote down my thoughts nearly immediately. It's a mix of like After Hours and his old stuff, and it doesn't really do what I think he wanted it to. That being said, though, John, I revisited this song throughout the week, and it has grown on me.
I don't doubt that. I don't doubt that it has the potential to grow on you in some aspects. But yeah, I feel like as a lead single for the last album in this trilogy that's been pretty good so far, this is just, I don't know. It's disappointing.
Well, man, it's funny with The Weeknd. He's one of those guys that like as soon as he drops something, it's fucking everywhere,
Yeah.
right? Like when he dropped Heartless, I will never forget. Every single person I knew was like, "Yo, you heard this fucking song, bro?" And I have not heard this song out and about anywhere. I
No,
haven't
me
heard
either
anybody
yet.
talking about it.
But I Blinding Lights took a while to get there, and I think by every measurable statistic, that is now the most successful song of all time from any artist. So these things don't happen overnight. It's not
That's
you and I cover it.
that's a crazy sentence,
It is.
John.
It's the most weeks on Billboard. It's I think the most plays on streaming in history. It's crazy. Yeah, he does definitely hold the records. And that's why we automatically check out everything he does regardless. But yeah, I'm going to be real. This is not one that I'm excited to come back to, but obviously when the album drops, I will be listening to it in full for sure.
Oh, of course, of
All
course.
right, new one from Duckworth called Had Enough. It's nothing we haven't heard from him before, but it's a solid track, really nice groove to it. I thought it was good. What about you?
Yeah, this is as tradition for Duckworth. Fun, dancey flows and vocal melodies are all great.
Yep, yep. New one from FK Twigs, Eusexua is the name. Very ambitious and expansive and experimental. Not a track I see myself going back to very often, but I do see a lot of people talking about this one online. So I think she did something right with it. Where's it at for you?
I I I really liked it. I think that it, like you said, it's ambitious for sure.
Mm-hmm.
It is experimental. Those building arpeggios and her haunting voice over it is just chef's fucking kiss. I'm so curious to see how this song fits into a project because I was taken aback when this song dropped. So
Yeah, the music video for it I think is like 8 minutes long. Much it's got and it's not like a bunch of acting. It's they've expanded like parts of the instrumental a lot and just have these huge dance parts that aren't a part of the streaming version of the song. But it's all worth checking out if you're a fan for sure. I hope this is leading to an album. I don't know if I've seen that yet though.
yep.
All right, new one from Clipping, David Diggs, Jonathan Snipes, and William Hudson. It's called Run It. This is the first time we've heard from them since their cover of Tipsy that we talked about a while back. This is much different, but a banger nonetheless. I'm not familiar with the other vocalists on it, but I enjoyed all of the verses. The super 90s dial up coded, glitchy, percussion driven beat just really makes it for me. What about you?
Man, I've never really been a big fan of clipping. I have always found the people that I've met or seen online that are gigantic fans of clipping to be some of the most insufferable people I've ever met. But I will say that this track is fucking great. The beat is infectious to me, and I am so curious about more.
Yeah, I think we're headed that direction, man. So we'll definitely be checking out more. All
Yep.
right, new one from Bad Bunny, sentence we have not said in a while. Una Valida is the name of the song. As is usually the case with Latin music, I had no idea what he was singing and rapping about, so I looked into it. And this track is about the fallout from Hurricane Maria, which happened in Puerto Rico back in 2017. The song is released as they head into like an election season there. That's about all I know. That said, I thought it was okay. Obviously not a banger, but I don't think it's trying to be in any way. What did you think of this one?
My notes actually say that this song is a banger. I did not look into it. That's really cool of
Of
him to
course
shed
you thought
light
it was
on
banger.
stuff like that. I really liked it, man. Dude is still on fire. We haven't talked to him. We haven't talked about any new music since last
He's
year,
done some
right?
features, but yeah, nothing under his name since that album late
Like,
last year.
which was one of two albums he dropped last year, if I'm not mistaken. And yeah, I really liked this one, man. I for some reason, dude, I don't like him as a feature, but I really like him as a solo artist.
He has more control over the overall sound, and I think that sound that he does now when he's solo is very likable. I think that when he
Yep.
hops on other people's tracks, he just goes in with whatever they want to do and he makes the most of it. He's very adaptable, but I agree that he's better in some lanes than others for sure. This being one of them.
Every feature's got to start with a
Damn, we need ad libs on this show. We really do. All right, man. We got a new one from ASAP Ferg off White Rose. This is just straight up fun and stupid, and I liked it. What about you?
number one, R.I.P. to Virgil. Number two, this song is a blast, man. I had so much fun every time this track came on. It's so
We
dumb.
needed some
It's
fun
so
rap.
great though.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
man.
this is peak that. Ferg is peak fun rap for sure. All right, new one from Alchemist and Schoolboy Q, Ferraris in the Rain. Good beat, decent verses, but nothing remarkable despite the names attached. I feel like Q needed another 16 bars at least. He just never gets out of second gear on this one. What did you think about it?
So I actually had a conversation with somebody about The Alchemist and like producers in general. And the one thing always that Alchemist always ends up pulling from the artist that he works from is different pentameters, different like time signatures for their bars, and different like rapping all together. And I'm not sold on Schoolboy Q over an Alchemist beat. I'm just not sold on it. I don't think that Schoolboy Q can actually shine on an Alchemist beat because Alchemist is pretty much always the star. So that's kind of how I feel about it.
Interesting.
Like you said, great beat, subpar bars. If we're really being honest, so
Yeah, I mean, it feels like kind of a warm up sesh that just got recorded. Not any of their best work, to be honest. New one from Joey Badass and Chloe called "Tell Me." Nothing about this really blew me away, but it's two very solid performances from two solid artists that I think both needed a song like this. I thought it was really good. What about you?
I actually think that both of these artists handle their respective moments fabulously on this one. Joey is just on a good one the entire track. I like this one, man.
Yeah, yeah. So Joey does this whole like melodic rap thing so well, so it's always great when he snaps into this lane.
Yep.
Oh man, these new songs from Lolo Zouai and Jet Lag, both of these are incredible. But as my song of the week, I have been a big fan of hers for a long time. It's cool to see her follow up her writing credit for New Jeans with a few bangers. These did not disappoint as a longtime fan. What about you? What did you think of these?
There's been some drama with New Jeans lately. I think that I actually liked Jet Lag more than I liked. I think, yeah, I
What drama did
that's
you
just
hear?
who I
I
am,
don't know
man.
what drama you're speaking of here. What drama?
Oh, really? Well, I guess something about their management, and then they posted a video outside of their management's position or permission, rather, basically asking for their old manager back, and that's apparently a big
Ah,
no-no.
yes.
I don't know all of the things, but people are, I'm a part of the Coachella
Yes,
forums
yes.
and stuff, and people are like, New Jeans needs to play, and everyone's like, I don't think New Jeans is gonna do shit, man.
So the management
So.
saga is, yes, that's been a long time thing. I did not know that they have made a video stating anything about it. I'll have to look into that before I have any actual take on it. But yes, that has been brewing for a while. As you would expect, the management and tactics that go on behind these groups is not always great. So
Right?
yeah, we'll have to monitor that some more for sure. All right, new one from Men I Trust. The song is called Husk. It's been a little over a year and a half now since they've released a new song. I'm not sure if it's
Right.
just like a pre-tour single or a start of a new album rollout or both, but I'm enjoying it all the same, man. What about you?
This song sounds like a tennis song. I love tennis, therefore I loved this song.
That's interesting. I've never really drawn the correlation between Men I Trust and tennis. I'm gonna have to listen next time with that in mind. I can for sure see it now that I'm kind of listening back with that in mind. That's interesting. All right. We got a new one from the Beaches called Jocelyn. They just do not miss, man. I loved this one. What about you?
We have been very blessed with the Beaches music these last couple of years, man. This track is very much them,
Yeah.
which means it is very much good.
Yeah. Have not missed yet. All right. So got a new one from Soccer Mommy called Driver. I thought this song was perfect, dude. It's great songwriting, great performances, both musically and vocally. Does all the things I want it to do. I'm calling it now that this is probably going to be my standout when her new album drops later this year, because I really can't imagine it getting any better than this. But I'm also not doubting her. What did you think of this one?
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt her, man. A new Soccer Mommy day is always a good day. This is great.
Yeah.
Like it's just great.
Yeah, she crushed it. All right, so we are getting a Latin version of St. Vincent's last album, All Born Screaming. We got the first song off that, Hombre Roto. I'm all for a Latin version of any album, so I'm on board with this. What about you?
Yeah, so I heard this song and like I speak a little bit of Spanish, and so I was like, and so like I knew that it was just the song with Spanish words, and so I was like, oh, what, like why? So I looked it up, and just basically read Annie's words here.
Sure.
The origins of Todos Nacen Gritando can be traced back to some of the most memorable shows I've ever played in Mexico, South America, and recently in Primavera, Barcelona in 2023. Though separated by time and geography and across a diverse range of settings and venues, these crowds were united in their passion, singing every word to every song in perfect English. It was truly inspiring. Eventually, I asked myself, if they can sing along in second or third language, why can't I meet them halfway? So I enlisted my best friend and occasional collaborator, Alan Del Rio Ortiz, to work on translating these lyrics, tweaking here and there for melodic reasons, making every effort to stay true to the song at hand without sacrificing accuracy. After much rewriting and re singing every vocal track on the album, the result is Todos Nacen Gritando, equal parts labor of love and tribute to the people who inspired it. I cannot say more how much I respect the fuck out of St. Vincent for doing something like this.
Yeah, dude, that's fucking rad. I mean, I love the not just the act, but yeah, the thought process behind it. That is very, very cool. I have nothing to hate on about that at all.
Super, super cool.
I don't know a release date for that yet, but we'll definitely be checking it out when it drops for sure. All right, we got a new one from Bare Hands called Dial Tone. I'm not really feeling this one. What about you?
Well, you're not, because they're throwing little atypical moments of like atypical elements that you don't normally hear in indie rock. I kind of love that part about them where they kind of like do their own thing
Sure.
after a couple of like traditional indie pop
Mhm.
songs. I liked the lyrical content on this one. I'm pretty excited for the record. So I understand why you didn't like it. It'll fit into the album if it's anything like their previous
I
ones.
trust you, Brandon. I trust you.
You should.
All right, got a new one from Good Hangs, PC for PC. God damn it, I hoped to never see that phrase ever again in my life. Decent tune, though. I liked this one. What about you?
I've seen a lot of talk about this band this year. I decided to check them out. Lo and behold, they released a new song on Friday. Good stuff. It's definitely up my alley. We'll see. I have yet to listen to more of their
Yeah.
music, but we'll see what
Yeah,
happens.
same. New one from Dosser, Caught in a Web. You are the foremost authority on Dosser on the podcast. So, what are your thoughts on this one, man?
My favorite rock album from last year keeps getting streams and plays on the vinyl from me, so it's nice to have new music from them. Same old for them for
Yep.
sure, and they do this style of grungy, garagey kind of pedal effect filtered rock music really well, and they did it again on this one.
Yeah, another great Dosser song from Dosser. Big surprise.
Yeah, you can tell by the way that it is.
Exactly. New one from Daisy Grenade. It's a cover of Polly. This is better than I thought it'd be. Thumbs up. What about you?
It's actually been a really long time since we've covered anything from Fueled by Ramen,
You
which
are
was
right. Yeah.
nice. Which was nice to cool, like pretty cool
I
to
didn't even
see.
notice that at
Uh,
first, honestly.
Right. Yeah, this is great, man.
Yeah, a cover I am not as high on is this next one. Cloud Nothing's covered Halloween 1 and 2. I just like to cover, so don't say I hate all covers. I just did not enjoy this one. I just don't think it does enough to ever make me want to listen to it over the original. And the mix is awful. What did you think of these, though? Am I wrong?
I think no, you're not wrong. The mix is awful on purpose, though, and I think that's more of an homage to the Misfits than
Sure.
anybody could do.
It's not
I
lost on
really
me.
like I really like AFI's cover of this. In
Mm-hmm.
fact, this coming weekend, we will be decorating for Halloween because it's basically October
Yeah.
and it's a little bit under 100 degrees or something like that out here. So like it's time to like put our sweaters on and decorate shit. This is actually coming off of the Pure Noise Records compilation that will be released on the 17th of October and features a ton of covers. So get ready for this, John. 4-Year Strong covering Stone Temple Pilots,
Oh, Lord.
Spanish Love Songs covering In Excess, Senses Fail covering Saves the Day, and even Hawthorne Heights covering Death Cab for Cutie.
Okay.
It should be a very interesting Halloween
Yeah.
compilation. You're already groaning and rolling your eyes, and I cannot wait to make you do it more when
Yeah.
these songs come out. I liked this cover, but the original and the AFI cover will forever be better than anything anybody else could ever do. And if you prove me wrong, I'll eat a sock on camera.
No, man. Hard agree with you. I'm not going to make you eat a sock on camera. You were right about that. You said you're going to be decorating. Do you have the All Hallows EP from AFI in your vinyl collection?
Of course I do. What kind of question is that?
The real that was not the question. The real question is, does that one go up every Halloween on the vinyl wall?
No, actually, it never does because it's a 10-inch. And so it looks weird with all the other ones.
Yeah.
We've got a couple of cool Halloween records that we spin though. We actually have a reading of Edgar Allan Poe short stories on vinyl. I forget who reads it. It's pretty good. It's a really old record. And then we also have a Disney record. It's a Halloween Disney record and it is sound effects. So like doors creaking, cats shrieking, stairs creaking, ghouls haunting, shit like that.
That's even more scary as a homeowner, isn't it? You're like, all this shit I gotta fix.
No, we like to pop the windows open and play that while trick-or-treaters are coming up. So we put a little bit of fear in them,
As you should, man. God, I miss getting trick-or-treaters. All right, anyways, moving on. We got a new one from Real Friends, Never Has Become Always. They said that this is going to be their heaviest song to date. I think it is, but not by much. I think it's a nice way for them to mix things up without completely reinventing the wheel, which they really didn't even need to do. Their last few projects and songs were great. They just did it to add a little something, and I like that. I appreciate them not going full metalcore to try and prove a point either. I think they cranked things up just enough for me. What about you?
We can do what Parkway Drive doesn't do anymore. This rollout has actually been fucking great, man. This band is so good. Lots of two-step drumming. I love the scream sung lyrics. So good, man.
Yeah, I agree, man. Another song I'm just absolutely loving is this new one from LS Dunes. Fatal Deluxe is the name. Anytime I get to hear Anthony Green sing and scream like this is a good time. So I'm having so much fun with this one, man. What about you?
Anything that Anthony Green does is just like an instant add to the playlist because like I know it's going to be good. This dude has to be probably one of the like busiest dudes in rock music right now. He's constantly on tour, constantly recording new music, constantly improving his singing voice, his screaming voice. I'm forever impressed by Anthony Green.
Yeah, I would venture that over the past 5 years, he's probably played shows with Seosin, Circus Survive, Sand of Animals Fighting, LS Dunes, and done solo stuff. And I'm probably still leaving something out. That's how much this guy fucking works, dude. Legend. Absolute legend.
In between studio visits, apparently. Like, goddamn, man.
Yeah, he's also like married and has a personal life. He might even have a kid. Yeah, dude is nonstop professional. I love him. Always will. Yep. All right, new one from first to last again. Fuck yeah, dude. This one is called Rev. I am loving the new era that they're in. It is great, but more importantly, it sounds like From First to Last. It's a little different, but it still sounds like From First to Last to me. What about you? Does it still sound like From First to Last to you, or is it so different that you're like, this is a different band to me?
No, no, I totally agree. I think that it has just that right level of unhinged to it
Mm-hmm.
that just kind of makes it sound like From First to Last. Bro, Matt Good is just killing it on this track.
His
The
vocals
use
are
of
great
synths is
on this one.
amazing. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. His vocals are just incredible. This band has never really stopped being great. Everybody associates them with Skrillex or whatever, but I, I'm 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 starting to become a very, very big Matt Good fan.
He crushed it, and it was one of those things where his voice sometimes so closely mirrors Sonny's that like I always have to pull up the credits when it's a non-Sonny side. You
Right.
forget how much like writing and vocals he already did in the band even when Sonny was in it. Like Matt
Exactly.
Good has been a very, very integral part of this group forever. So that was never going to
Right.
change. And yeah, I think it's awesome that other people are getting to hear not just his talent, but the other guys in the band and just this group again. They've never been very active. I think the last time they were, they dropped like 2 songs a year apart around that little reunion they did with Sonny. So I'm hoping
Yeah.
this is leading to an EP, but at the very least, we got 2 new From First to Last songs this year, and I was not expecting that. So I'll take it.
Exactly.
Dear God, talk to me about this next ones, man. Love Rarely, Mold, and Whiplash. The speed at which I said hell yeah after hearing this the first time was so fast it was scary, dude. I don't think we've talked about them before. If we have,
Nope.
shame on me for not remembering. Good. But yeah, let me just state for the record, dude, this fucking rules. It's a little mathy, a lot screamy, and I love all of it. So thank you for adding these. Mold, definitely in the conversation for my songs of the week. What about you?
So I love nobody else can see this because it's on our collab playlist that we feed our weekly rotating from. But I added
Yeah.
mold and then you added you added whiplash
Mm,
because you clearly went to the single and were like, who the fuck is this?
yep.
And then
It
added
was
the
like,
other one.
Brandon, you
So I
missed
just
one.
wanted to thank you for that. Yeah, 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 yeah. No, we've never talked about this band before. I forget how I found them. I have been in a God, I need new post hardcore
Hmm.
mood. We're going to talk about that a little later in the episode, but I I loved Mold. I loved Whiplash. These songs are great. Her voice is incredible,
So
man, and
good.
it's so suited for this style of screamy that just it does it for me, man. I am excited to I believe we have a project coming out. I will confirm after we let go here after we're off the mic.
Seems
But yeah,
like it.
these are fantastic, man. They've got, like you said, that mathy edge to
Yeah.
them, and you know I love that in a post-hardcore band. So
Dude, fucking same. Yeah, thanks for adding these. We got a new one from Under Oath. Teeth is the name of this one, and it is a turn towards the dreaded alt metal sound for Under Oath. After an album that we considered a return to form, I wasn't really expecting it, but I think after sitting with this one for 2 weeks now, I like it. What about you?
what's funny is I really agree with you. This is not what I expected from Under Oath after their last album. After a few listens, I really like it.
Yeah.
You know that I like them when they get heavier. This is interesting, man. They still retain a little bit of them though with those like glitchy guitar string sample and like I'm very curious. I'm very curious.
I am as well. Don't know where this is heading yet. I know they're on that 20th anniversary of their Only Chasing Safety tour right now, but this is cool. We'll see where it goes.
Yeah, I will let you know if they play it live because I have tickets to on the 22nd of October to go see
Fuck
them.
yeah, you do. You're going to that the same night I'm going to Charlie, so that'll be fun for
Oh,
us.
you love that. Yeah, Static Dress is opening and
Oh,
I cannot be more
yes.
excited.
They better play Lie Solution. They have to. All right, we got a new one from Poppy. They're all around us. It's another W from Poppy in my book, dude. I know a lot of her music can sound the same, but I like that sound. What about you?
This is actually another band I'm going to go see next month. I bought tickets to Mayhem Festival. Poppy is on the lineup.
Fuck
I'm
yeah.
very excited for that. This song is great. Like it's really, it's got that groove to it
Mm-hmm.
that that she does really well. So I really like this
Yeah,
one.
she announced a new album. I think it's called Negative Spaces, coming out sometime in November, if I'm not mistaken. So we will definitely be covering that one.
Perfect.
All right. August Burns Red. Exhumed is the name of this one. This song fucking rips, dude. That My Demons Die Today breakdown at the end is so fucking sick, dude. I
So good.
loved this one. What about you?
You know what I love, John? I loved the guitar solo on this one. They've got more metal, less core going on. I'm not mad at that at all. This is
Yeah,
great.
very, very good, dude. Loved it. A new one from Mastodon and Lamb of God, Floods of Triton. Where the fuck did this come from?
So they actually just toured together. And I'm assuming that they recorded this either prior to the tour or right after. The riff is a little bland, I would say, at
Mhm.
first, but we get some really cool progressions of it along with the drumming. We get some really great guitar work from Bran and Mastodon, and Randy Blythe over Mastodon instrumentals is really fucking neat, man. This was really cool to hear.
Yeah, I agree. That main riff is a little bland, but I think that overall the song works. It's heavy, epic, just good old fashioned metal done right. Little thrashy, just melodic enough. Definitely shreds, though.
Yep.
I'm a fan.
Yep.
All right, man. We got a new one from Madball Fight With Me that has been taken off streaming before I could listen to it, but you did get to listen to this one, right?
Yes, I did. So this one is no longer available on Spotify or streaming, like you said, but I immediately knew it was a Madball track on the first listen. So just go listen to any other Madball track. You'll get the gist of it.
Perfect. Perfect. Thank you. Done. All right. All right. We got a new one from Cosmic Putrefaction, Swirling Madness, Supernal Ordeal. Dear God, man, the fact that this is one person will just never cease to blow my mind. It's
Ah,
so impressive on every level. This song is just pure insanity as expected. Hard not to enjoy it. What did you end up thinking about this one?
this is my second song of these
Sure.
2 weeks. I love it when death metal bands take a second and like do like calming instrumental passages just to build right back up into blast beats and gutturals, especially when it's done well. This song, as most Cosmic Putrefaction songs, is not only done well, it's done extremely
Yeah.
well. It's heavy, it's technical, it's allowed to breathe, and it's over 7 minutes long. Sign me up forever.
Same. All right, man. Last single this week is Ingurgitating Oblivion's The Barren Earth Part 3. The almost 20 minutes that I've spent in the world that they've created over these past few songs has been nuts, dude. It's heavy, it's dark, it's scary sometimes. It is perfect for this time of year, for sure. I liked this entry as well. I don't know where it ranks for me within the three we've heard so far, but it's good. What do you think about it?
Challenging and dissonant, experimental yet extremely tidy somehow. I loved this song. We have all three parts now out. The album actually ends on this song, so we have the closer. I'm dying to know how we build up to it. I don't know off the top of my head when the album drops, but I think it's soon, and I cannot that day cannot come soon
Or
enough.
is every
I
song
need
just
more
going to
of
be
this.
the same title, part something else?
Nope. Nope. There are three songs prior to every single we've gotten so
Okay.
far.
All
So,
right. Well,
yep.
that'll be fun. All
Yes, yes, it will be.
right. We got a few EPs this week to talk about. First up is the Silly Goose Bad Behavior EP. I'd be lying if I said I expected you to throw a rap rock EP on the playlist this week, but at this point, I really shouldn't be. I think the big surprise is I liked this. That's the
Yeah,
surprise.
I knew you were gonna.
What'd you think of it?
I couldn't resist throwing this one on the playlist, man. This is hilariously good. Out on a record label I'm not very familiar with called Blue Grape Music. This is some rap rock that was made in 2024. That is the sentence I just said.
Mm-hmm.
It's done extremely well. Bodacious lyrical content with some aggressive instrumentals, along with some really great gang vocal melodies and even some screamies,
Yep.
man. It was always fun when this one came on this week. I didn't skip a song every time it came on. I know you didn't either.
No, dude, this is really, really fun, man. I Was not expecting it, but that did not at all affect my enjoyment of it, for sure. All right, we got a new EP from the New Hires. It's called For All Seasons. What'd you think of this one?
This one's really good, man. I don't know what it is about this style of just indie pop rock that I really like so much, but I like this a lot, man. The New Hires just have like a way about them that is just so breezy and easy to listen to. And honestly, I'm glad it was an EP and not a full album, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, dude, I thought it was solid. I love the moments where they really open up musically. I think the EP is going to go a long way in boosting their monthly listeners count up for sure, at the very least.
Right.
Techno EP of the week, or of the last 2 weeks, I suppose. I'm not sure how to pronounce the artist name. I think it's Bogger.
B90.
Is it B90?
B90.
All right, B90.
B90.
EP is Groove Instructor. Whole thing is a fucking great time, dude. The title track was probably my favorite of the four, though, man. Just an undeniable jam. What did you think of these?
Groove Constructor is fucking right, man. This is out on Molecule Records, which is a label from Paris, France. We get some really groovy, proper techno. I love the way the synths build and how B90 will take away elements just to like hit you in the face with them
Yeah.
like a minute and a half later. Fun fact about this group, if you go onto their web store, you can buy a banana. I will not, because shipping from Germany is atrocious, even on the €5 banana.
What's the shipping on one banana? Do you remember?
$32.
Holy shit. It's a $40 banana. Yeah, better be great.
It's a banana, Michael. How much could it cost?
God damn it. Oh, man. All right. We had one more EP to talk about, but it's been removed from Spotify. It was from Border One called Weaving Shadows. We will circle back to that one if they throw it back on.
Yes.
Are you ready to move on to the albums?
I am, actually.
All right. First up, we got this new one from Purple Disco Machine called Paradise. What are your thoughts on it?
Hey there, PDM. Long time no see, in album form at least. You know that I love Purple Disco Machine, and we've been rocking with him for years now, man. Close to a decade, I've been listening to his groovy disco house beats. He has moved firmly into the poppier space of music, and I can't say I blame him. He does this style very well. The bass lines all over this thing are polished and crisp. The funk and disco elements abound, and all of the vocal choices he uses work really well, man. Tracks like Dirty Pleasures and Honey Boy really show off his composition skills. Now, Rogers being involved in the latter is going to obviously spruce it up quite a bit. Heartbreaker with Chromeo sounds better than anything Chromeo has put out, especially their last album, which is kind of to be expected. That album was not good. That cowbell though is just iconic. Something on My Mind brings this like level of trance and deep house together so incredibly well, and he clearly works very well with the Duke. So let's get them on a full length collab album. Stat. All of my praise for this album is obviously deserved. However, there's something missing here, John. For how much I really enjoy each individual tracks, and I actually enjoy like the sequencing, there's just something so polished about it that makes it lose a little bit of the soul that we've come to love and expect from Purple Disco Machine. It's odd though, and it was kind of difficult to put into words, but it's there, as in like it exists. You can tell that the combination of analog instruments and software were all like meticulously chosen and performed. There's just like maybe something in the mix that's leaving me with this feeling that he lost or threw away his edge a little bit. It was the old school house edge that brought me to him. And while there's plenty of great music here, it still left me with a little more to be desired. All of that being said, I did enjoy it. So I'm going to give it a 6. Something on My Mind with Dumont is my standout of this one. What did you think about
I
it?
agree with you. I found this album to be predictably pleasant, but fun enough to stay engaged with at least. At this point, if you've heard one PDM song, you've heard most of them. And that's not that he's a one-note artist, but there's a certain limitation to the style and aesthetic he's chosen to pursue. Kavinsky is in a really similar position, but what both of them have chosen to do is maximize what they can do in that space. They can be creative as long as it's cohesive, and I think Purple Disco Machine does land the plane with that in terms of this album. His biggest strength to me has always been the songwriting, and he's proven on here that he's still as sharp as he was with it when he busted into the game and kind of just started taking over. I assume that would be the case, but he's been putting out music almost nonstop in the years we've been covering him. And I do kind of always wonder when the bottom will fall out, like we've seen happen to so many other artists in similar positions. He seems like he's here to stay. He's already gotten a Grammy, hundreds of millions of streams. Even his deluxe edition tracks do numbers. This album already has hundreds of millions of streams. His sound is clearly resonating with people, and I think that it should. It's quality music with quality musicians. We get a new Sophie and the Giants collab on here. We get Nile fucking Rodgers on Honey Boy, Chromeo, like you said, on Heartbreaker, Kill It, Duke Dumont on Something on My Mind. The list goes on, man. This album always was going to be a success. It's nice to have it officially out to confirm that it's at least as good as I thought it'd be. In terms of the music itself, it's funky, it's danceable, it's catchy, it's fun. It's pretty much everything you want from Disco Machine. I'm going to give it a 7. My standout is Something on My Mind. But I do agree with you that it could be like something in the mix or just something in the overall presentation of the album is just a little too neat for me as well.
There's something, man, and I was having a really hard time explaining it. It's one of those like emotions, you know,
Yeah.
like it's a feeling thing. Like when I first started listening to him, I think it was around 2015, 2016, and I remember feeling like so much soul out of his
Yeah.
music alongside the funk and the disco stuff that he's done so well, and the house obviously that he's done so well, but this one didn't have the soul. It didn't have that edge, and I don't know where that dropped. So
I think the first time I heard
interesting.
him was that All I Want remix of Boys Noise, which I'm not expecting him to like snap into that every time he releases a song. But it would be
Right.
nice to meet somewhere in the middle for sure.
Yeah. I actually saw him do a DJ set for the first time, really like actually listening to him. I think I had heard like a track,
Yeah.
but yeah, it was great, and I've been rocking with him since. But yeah, I was a little, I was whelmed.
I too as well. All right, man. We got a new album from Jamie XX out in Waves. This is great. I had really high expectations based on the singles we'd heard, and it lived up to everyone. Batty on the Floor was terrific when it dropped. It still is. Treat Each Other Right still hits just as hard as it did the first time I heard it, and the way that the new intro track goes into it makes it even better. The little XX reunion on Waited All Night is terrific. Late rollout singles like Daffodil and All My Children are absolute earworms. I'm still getting familiar with some of the newer album cuts on this one, but it's an easy no skips for me. Between an 8 and a 9, probably in the front running for my dance album of the year at the moment. My standouts are Batty on the Floor and Treat Each Other Right. What did you think of this one?
So the highly anticipated second album from Jamie XX is finally here. You know that you've made a classic when people never shut the fuck up about it for close to a decade. And In Color is most definitely that. And the pressure to create another classic must be insanely crushing, you know? I don't think we'll know yet if this one will stand the test of time as much as his last project did, but what we have here is an incredible
Yeah.
showcase of house and electronic music prowess. The details clearly matter to Jamie, and that's readily apparent all the way through. The way he puts the brakes on for like Life with Robin and the little glitchy flourishes, the crackles on Daffodil, and the way he mixes the sample on The Feeling I Get From You in different volumes and filters. This track was actually very Chemical Brothers adjacent, so you know that I fucking loved it.
Yep.
The ambient buzz into some of the incredible house and unique percussion and like rising dueling melodies on Breather. His use of the stereo channels on the interlude even was incredible. Like the fantastic subtlety of the 303 on the closer falling together is just impeccable, man. Jamie XX did an incredible job on this thing, and it's as detailed and meticulous as the
Yep.
music we've come to know and expect from him. I cannot wait to see where this album and arsenal for his live sets takes him. I'm going to just give it a 9. My
Fair.
standout is, I mean, probably let's call it Falling Together or The Feeling I Get From You. Either one of those are good standouts for me. But Daffodil's a banger. I mean, they're all bangers,
Yeah.
bro. You know, like it's, and like you said, it's an easy no skip. You can throw a dart at it, and it would probably be my standout for whatever day.
The whole album's giving me strong torso, you know, for sure. All right. Yeah. Glad we're in sync on this one. Absolute banger. For sure going to be in the album of the year conversation with dance music, no doubt.
Most definitely.
All right, man. Talk to me about this new London Grammar album, The Greatest Love. I'm a little torn on it.
I'm not. This is surprisingly my most listened to album of these last couple of weeks, John. At just 42 minutes, it's kind of the perfect length for an album like this. Is it pop? It doesn't matter. It's got this English flair to it, and it incorporates some of the best of the UK's tropes in music nowadays in a way that I think really complements Hannah's vocals as well as the other way around. I think Hannah's vocals really complement all of the instrumentals really well on this one. This whole thing is, to me, fantastic music with elements of house, traditional pop, guitars, there's drum and bass, there's great bass lines, there's scathing ballads calling out fake bitches and haunting vocal melodies performed immaculately, man. I could not get enough of this record this week. I must have listened to it like 15 or 20 times over the last couple weeks, dude. The sequencing though is like as close to perfect as you can get. The way it like winds down from house to LA so gradually and then perks right back up at Ordinary Life and then just like continues on. And you know that I love a good crescendo closer, and we most definitely got that with the title track. Honestly, John, I love this record. I am now cemented as a big fan of London Grammar. I'm going to give it a 9. The whole damn thing is my standout.
Oh, man. Our run of being in sync ended. Yeah.
Damn.
So I lied. I'm not really torn on it. I just don't like it, and I didn't have the guts to say it up front. I thought it was okay at best.
Tell me.
I just wasn't really in the mood for this type of music the past few weeks, I guess, and it did very little to win me over. I did enjoy moments of it, though. You know, I always look for little things I enjoyed even when I don't like an album. It starts off really strong for me with House. Fakest Bitch and You and I are both well written and lean towards the like folk side of their sound a little too much for me, but overall work. LA, really, really good. And I wish that we got a little more off the rails a little more often like that. Ordinary Life and Santa Fe are fine. Kind of Man and Rescue just were not for me, tempo and tone wise. Into Gold was fantastic and easily my favorite on the album. The closer is okay, but it just feels like the grand finale of a piece of art that I didn't enjoy very much, which I guess it is. I have this one between a 5 and a 6. My standout is Into Gold. I will agree with you that song fucking rips.
That's totally fair, man. That's a fair score. If it wasn't for you, it wasn't for you, you know?
Exactly. But man, I'm glad I didn't expect you to enjoy it that much. So I will definitely have to think about it a little differently if I hear it again, for sure.
I didn't expect to like it as much as I did either, man.
We're always learning new things about each other on this podcast, Brandon.
And ourselves.
All right, let's move on to this new Ginger Root album. Jesus Christ. Shinbangumi. This album feels like the culmination of everything he's been working towards since the City Slicker EP. Who knows if any of these songs are going to be a hit like Loretto was, but if you like his music like I do, and like I think you do, this album's a really good time, dude. He knows how to put his best foot forward, and he does so by leading off the album with no problems. It was a great lead single. It starts things off perfectly here. Better Than Monday is a little bit slower and has him singing through some sort of vocal filter that makes it feel a little more distant, but I thought it was good. There Was a Time is just a jam all night, gets so funky at the end. Great song. Only You is good, but kind of feels like the B-side to something that he's already put out. Still decent though. Kaze and Giddy Up are both solid. Show 10 manages to be like funky and dreamy at the same time. Take Me Back, I think, wraps things up nicely. I really like the mini jam session in the back half of it. This album's a solid 7 for me, man. I don't think anything was lost in him going from EPs to a full-length album in this regard. I know he's put out albums prior to the EPs when we started covering him, but This being the first full length I've heard of his, I thought it was good. So yeah, solid 7. Standout is no problems. What about you, man? What did you think of this?
Ginger Root is back and ginger rootier than ever. Dude just makes incredibly fun music, John. What is apparent after just a few tracks is that he's having so much fun making the
Yeah.
music too. I love it when artists have this like careless nature while also taking things seriously in the musicality end, which is exactly what Ginger Root does on this thing. There are obviously like fun parts like the 70s and 80s style synth work, the upbeat percussion and drumming, and the guitar licks that just abound this record. But some growth I've noticed on this project is the bass. Tracks like All Night really exemplify all of these factors very well, and the bass lines are just a tad bit more intricate on this album than they have been on previous projects. And I think it makes the music a little bit more engaging for me. In fact, John, there are like more than a few moments on this album where he reminds me of a King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard
I can
album,
see it. Yeah.
which is which is fucking wild, but here we are, right? There are a few moments on a few tracks I didn't like, but most of this is fun and engaging and most definitely showcasing once again Ginger Root's talent and insatiable desire to make music exactly like that. Like you, I'm a solid 7. All Night is going to be my standout.
Great song. Great song. All right, let's move on to this Floating Points album, Cascade. Dear God, man, this album is really, really good. We didn't talk about a lot of these as singles. We might
Did
not have
not.
talked about any. I don't remember, but I wanted to go in this as blind as possible after I saw it was announced. And I really enjoyed so much of this being new to me when I dove in. The intro is a new version of a track he dropped a few years ago, but is an absolute banger. Key 103 is a solid tune with some really great synth work. Birth 4000, another straight up banger. I could see Boys Noise dropping that one, which is always the sign of a great dance track to me. Del Oro is good, kind of Fortet adjacent. The next track, though, Fast Forward, is a fever dream that I did not want to wake up from. Just a masterclass in production on that one. Akatia works as a reprise that also descends into its own type of madness. The distractingly titled Affleck's Place is one of the best songs on the album. Tilt Shift, probably the one I enjoyed the least, but still not a skip. Ablaze feels more like an outro than its own thing, but it works, man. This is an easy 8 for me at the moment. I could see it going up in the future. That club mix of vocoder is my standout. What did you think of this one?
Loading Points, man. What a couple of weeks for electronic music, John. We get new Jamie XX and we get new Floating Points. This is Floating Points doing what he does best, man, making complex music sound effortless as he just meanders around all of the beats. There are so many little tiny minute details in these productions that you just know were either like there was one of two things. He either agonized over all of the details or they just came so naturally to him that it took him seconds. The latter would be
There is no in
Fortet.
between.
Right, right. Like the little chime in that new version of vocoder, it just like belongs there. I don't know what I'm actually saying other than like the details make the whole album. I love that he isn't afraid to like slow things down and build, and I love that he lets the music create the atmosphere rather than putting the atmosphere there on purpose for the music to work around. The way he messes with like the volume of certain builds on like Birth 2000 is insane.
Yup.
I love that he doesn't like stray away from using ambient synths and heavy basses, yet the whole thing feels very light and airy. Even though there's like multiple tracks past the 7 minute mark, it still feels like really like diet electronic
Yeah.
music until you throw good music on or like good headphones on and you're like, oh my God, this is that thing. This is just a totally immersive album for me. It is engaging and fun while still being a very seriously complex piece of music. I loved every single second that I spent with this album, John. Akatillo is, like you said, this like weird ambient kind of glitchy thing
Yep.
and then just comes right in at like 135 beats per minute just to kind of smack you in your fucking face. That's going to be my standout Ocotillo. I remember the first time I listened to that song being like, what the fuck am I listening to?
Yeah.
If you had shown me a track list and asked me which song I would like better, Affleck's House or Tilt Shift, I would have told you Tilt Shift. But you're right. Affleck's House is a better song. Bro, this is a 9 for me. I loved Ocotillo. I loved every second with this album, man. Even if Tilt Shift is like you, I actually think that this is one of the least better of the songs on the album. It's still better than like the majority of like electronic music today. So like it's kind of crazy to think like, oh, I didn't like that one, but like I don't skip it. So
because we took a week off, we ended up having Jamie XX and Floating Points on the same playlist, which just kind of spoiled us, honestly.
Real.
All right. Let's move on to this Tiffany Day album, Lover Tofu Fruit. I am a fan of her music. I was a fan of the singles. I'm not really a big fan of this album. I like it, but I'm not able to connect with it in the same way that I was able to connect with some of her older projects. It feels aimed at a different demographic than usual, but I don't think that was a conscious choice. I just think that's where she's at in terms of writing style and her life right now. The album starts off on a very vulnerable note before going into what is my best song on the album, if not just my personal favorite, Simon Said, which is well written and feels like Always Fun is my favorite song on the album. Simon Said we move into from there, and it feels well written, but it's like a little more Sabrina Carpenter-y than Tiffany Day to me, and I think that's where the problems for me with this album start. Same with Hella Boy Crazy. I have some issues with Loyola as well, mainly how much it resembles Forever by Chris Brown. I'm not sure if that was intentional or not, but I thought it was distracting at the very least. Outside of those brief moments, though, I thought this was decent. I like the more experimental production on What a Joke. Her forays into like drowsy alt pop and garage worked pretty well for me too. I think it's a good album and a solid full-length debut, but I know she's capable of making a great album. And I just can't wait to hear that someday. So this one's like a 6 for me, man. My standout is the intro, Always Fun. What did you end up thinking of this one?
You know, I love that she didn't go for a traditional pop record and instead chose to like really infuse her music with like R&B, dance, and indie as much as she did. I think I'm always going to find it really endearing when artists are brave enough to put like real life moments into their music.
Sure.
And to start the album off like she did with the recording of the day before her 21st birthday is pretty neat. Well, I love that she's going for a little bit of a mishmash with blending of the genres. I feel like sometimes it isn't done very well, though. For instance, What a Joke going right into Loyola is a little jarring every time I listen to it, and it feels like they belong on two different projects.
Yeah.
They're both good songs, just like from a sequencing point of view, it's a little misplaced. There's some fun moments on it, right? Kansas is a really fun moment. I did not get the Chris Brown reference or sound alike, similarity as much as you did, but I can see it. I think that there is a lot going on this album, more than meets the ear on first listen, and I think with every subsequent listen after my first one, I actually was getting diminishing returns on it, man.
Yeah.
It's a 6 for me as well. I liked it more than I didn't, but it's not one that I think I'm going to come revisit. I actually really liked Kansas.
Yeah, I think you liked that one as a single too. So that it's a good song, man. It's a little bit different. Probably what you and I both wanted a little more of on this album, but not a bad album overall. Right. All right, man. We got this Trentmoller album, Dreamweaver, finally out. Give me your thoughts on it.
Trentmoller is an enigma to me, John. He can do such wild things with synths and drum machines that it can feel like Depeche Mode or Beach House or Boys Noise at different points in a track that he does. I think that what really brings this together as a cohesive project, though, is the fact that Disa did all the vocals for all the tracks. It adds to the clear atmosphere that he's trying and succeeding in creating. This is electronic music, but there's so many different elements to it, and the inclusion of guitars throughout the project kind of elevates the vibe of the whole thing. The way everything builds and crashes, man, this is a fantastic night driving album, and I think everybody should go on a Trentmoller and drive at least once in their life. It's like beach indie electronic music, and it's incredibly satisfying at pretty much every corner. The transition from I Give My Tears into Behind My Eyes just sent me on the first time I listened to it. The synth work on this album is entrancing, and I love to have it on when I was like trying to wind down from a busy day. All of that being said, though, there are a couple of moments that are just way too chill, man. You know how I am with slower music, especially towards the back end of an album. It bothers me to no end that you would build energy just to let it dissipate like that. And like as the album is coming to a close, we get to like the extremely ethereal and vocalless track Winter's Ghost, which as itself is really beautiful, and then it turns into the closing track Closer, which I just start to fucking fall asleep, man. Maybe it's like designed like that, but I would have really liked a little bit of energy at the end. All of that being said, I did like this one a little more than I didn't. It's high six, low seven. Empty Beaches is probably going to be my standout for this one. What did you think? I've been dying to know.
I liked the last single of his we talked about, so I assumed I would enjoy this album, but that really wasn't the case, I guess. Electro Gaze sounds right up my alley on paper, but this application of it over the course of a full-length album didn't really do it for me. It's very Cigarettes After Sex meets Shiny Toy Guns, which again sounds like an awesome combination, but it just never really came together in a way that fully felt satisfying to me on this album. I can appreciate the vision behind it. It's very cohesive. All the vocals are very well done. I'm assuming that's who Disa is and their contribution to
Yes.
this side of it. Yeah, I think all the parts are there, man. It just did not come together in a way that worked for me. But I did enjoy some of the same things about it you did. Mainly, I Give My Tears and that transition around it. That's my standout easily. But for the album itself, it's around like a 5 or a 6 for me personally.
That's really fair, man. I wanted to like it more than I did, and that probably reflects into my score a little
Yeah,
bit,
I think I respect it more than I like it. That's it. But it's good.
That's a really good way to put it, man.
Yeah. All right, new Cliff Diver. Holy shit, man! This is called Birdwatching. What are your thoughts on it?
Hey, we got some brass
We
back.
did
It's not a lot, but it's there.
a little bit.
Just like their last album, Cliff Diver's latest effort is fun. It's serious, yet not really. It's just a pop punk good time, man. Their mix of fun and serious lyricism is something that I think they do pretty well. I think a lot of bands try it and kind of miss that mark. Their music is just a blast to me, man. I, I, I I enjoyed it for what it is,
Mhm.
right? It is, it's just a really fun album. There's like a lot of cool keyboard stuff. It reminds me of the band Farewell. I don't know if you ever listen to them. I just have fun listening to them, and I'm glad that we got a new project from them because there's always a need for like some high energy, ultra poppy pop punk. I honestly don't have too much more to say about it though. It's a good time. I will say I did like it a little less than
Mhm.
Exercise Your Demons though. It's probably about a 6 for me. I reckon You Could, I suppose, is going to be my standout. What do you think about this one?
I agree. I thought it was okay. I wasn't huge on the singles. I'm not huge on the album. I think they connect on some swings that they take, though. The intro track was different, but very fun. The band's self titled 1 minute song was a nice surprise, although the lyrics left a little to be desired in that one. My main issue is how the momentum just grinds to a halt every time they slow things down, like they do on Midnight Mass, Guitar Pro 5 theme, and Baby Bill. And I usually like those moments on albums like this, but I found them to be a slog to get through on repeat listens. The album cuts are fine and do a decent job fleshing this one out, but nothing on here really blew me away like multiple songs on their last project were able to do. It's only their second album though, so we'll see where they go from here. It's a light 6 for me. Still enjoyed it a lot more than I didn't. 30 Flirting and Thriving is my standout for sure.
It's a pretty good song, man.
Yeah, it's a fun way to kick the album off for sure. At least memorable, you know?
Yep.
Speaking of memorable, dear God. All right, this album from Sinema, Fear of the Fall. We have not had a clear-cut MySpace song or album of the week like this in a while, dude. I've never heard this group before, but now I am just blown away. I'm sure you knew I would really, really like this. It's everything I usually like about this type of music. Really fun blend of emo, post-hardcore, feels nostalgic and refreshing. Super fun breakdowns, tons of layered vocals. Very reminiscent of like old Dance Gavin Dance or a Skylit Drive. The scream kind of reminds me of old Haste the Day. How can you not love this, dude? I hit follow immediately after hitting play. It's excellent. High 7, low 8. My standouts On a Broken Edge or O2. What did you think about this one?
I'm sure as this one started, John, you really didn't know what you were in for. At least
clue.
I didn't when the first track came on. Someone in a Screamo comment section recommended this album, and I was just drawn to it for some reason, even just like the name of it. We missed it on release. I think it released earlier this year, but I could not wait for a slower week. We had to cover it. This is just some incredible post-hardcore screamo, or as the kids are calling it, scrams.
Sure.
Everyone can call it whatever the fuck they want because this is fucking fantastic, whichever way you slice the pizza. On a Broken Edge has this like perfect blend of emo and hardcore. O2 has this like 90s edge to it with some twinkly riffs just kind of thrown on top, for flavor. I just love the raspy scream vocals on Whether to Believe. The drumming on this song is also just fucking great. The whole thing just feels so raw and emotional and powerful because of those two things.
Yep.
The riffs, the tuning, the pedals, the passion, it's all there. It's what I've been saying is missing in not only this style of music, but in music in general nowadays. I loved this. I listened to it way too much these past couple of weeks, probably 1 or 2 times every day. It's an easy 8 for me. Whether to Believe or O2 are going to be my standouts for this one. Dear God, man.
Yeah. Dear God. Great find, man. Great find.
Yes, sir.
All right. We got 2 more albums to talk about this week. First of which is Pyrrhon's album, Exhaust. I enjoyed this one. It's super thrashy, hardcore punk, a lot of energy to it at almost all times. It's got a lot of the same things I enjoyed about like Better Lovers and Dreamwell in its DNA. It's constantly off the rails. The songs all blend together, but in a great way. It's not my usual cup of tea for metal, but I think they pull it off on this album so much more than they don't. This one's around a 7 for me, man. The Greatest City on Earth is my standout, without question, though. What did you end up thinking about this one?
You know what I've noticed about you, John?
What's that?
You like metal that is just absolutely fucking feral.
Yeah. I mean,
this is challenging, John. I like that. The drumming is absolutely fucking feral, and I would not have it any other way. It's progressive and time signature. It's wild and riffage. This album is not for someone who's like a casual listener of metal, I don't think. It's a bit avant-garde, and I like it for that. But because it's such a challenging listen, for me, it's a headphones album. Like I couldn't really listen to it and do anything else if I wanted to appreciate it, if I'm being real. It's like actually disorienting. I legit got dizzy a couple of times when I was doing laundry and this thing was on. I'm like bending down to take shit out of the dryer or whatever. And I got up and like riffs would hit me in the face. There's some incredible moments on this thing. Moments like halfway through Strange Plains when we get the chugs into the fret pulls into the breakdown are just so fucking cool. The scale intro of Stress Fractures and the subsequent madness that is just that whole song is just awesome. I think that music like this has its place, and it's most definitely something that I very much enjoy. It's not something I can listen to every day, though.
fair.
This was out on Willow Tip Records, and as is tradition, tradition. They released a good one. Easy 7 for me. Greatest City on Earth or Strange Plains. Either one of those are my standout. What an album, man.
Yeah.
This one was weird and unexpected for me even.
Yeah, that's funny. Feral is my brand apparently. I'll take it, dude. All right, we got one more
Well,
album. What's that?
I say that because you loved the Ulcerate album,
Yeah.
like you loved it, and that's like the only real word to like describe that one. And then this one comes out, and it's like rawer and like even more feral. And I like that you like this
We're
one.
getting closer. We're figuring it out.
I'm gonna figure you out one day, my man.
All right, man. Last album this week is from Typhonian. The Gate of the Veiled Beyond is the name of this album. Nothing like capping off the week with some German death metal. Pretty straightforward, but the grooves they get into on songs like Primal Deceptive Light are impossible to not just fucking headbang and vibe out to. Love how it's sequenced. I love how it's structured, getting more epic as it goes before culminating in a 20-minute finale that does not disappoint. This one's another like 7 for me. Towards the Chamber is my standout. How did you feel about this one?
That's a good one, man. Out on another one of my favorite labels right now. This one's out on Transcending Obscurity. We have the new one from Typhonian, which is just a fantastic blend of black metal and death metal. I see this genre called blackened death metal every once in a while, but I think it's more like deadened black metal. It's not it's got like these real black metal influences and moments that create like a really unique blend to keep me interesting and kept me coming back. There's like moments where we get like the tremolo picking of black metal with the black metal tuned guitars while the drums do like the slower death metal blast beats. This happens like a few times on this record, all really come together into something special. The sweet and like folksy intros, like the one on Cosmic Throne, really tie the room together on this one. The spoken word passages on A Glimpse at the Starless Ocean with that fucking 80s hair metal guitar solo. And of course, we can't go without talking about that 19-minute epic that the album closes on with the blend of everything else on it. We've got clean vocals, we get blast beats, we get double bass groups, melodic as hell guitar work, a quick little breakdown. There's organs, some fantastic mixing, along with harsh death metal growls, high pitched black metal screeches. It's all there, man. Such a good time with this one. Metal this year has been wild, John.
It
It's a
has been.
7 for me, easy. The Gatekeeper, I think, is going to be my favorite,
Sure.
but there's a lot to like about this album.
Yes, there is, man. Yeah, a lot of great adds to the playlist this week. I'm sure you have even more crazy metal waiting for us. Cannot wait to
So
hear it.
much.
You want to know what we'll be talking about next episode?
You know that
It's
I
a
do.
huge release week, man. We got new albums from Gallant, Drugs, Tommy Richmond, Black Dahlia Murder, Shoo Shoo, Lane 8, Sophie, and more. So be sure to tune in for that.
Wow.
You can find us on Instagram and Reddit. Just search Brandon's Face Pod. But most importantly, follow along with the weekly rotating playlist. You can find the link to that in the show notes. We update it every Friday night, so you'll know what we'll be covering on each week's episode. We will see y'all next time. Peace.
Peace.